this jungle area called Hueso. Then I believed. Because the spiders are this big, and the frogs are this big. Just everything looks insane.
Everyone knows there's no natural environment more treacherous than the Amazon rainforest. But just how many deadly monster creatures lurk within its depths? The answer is a lot. Today, we're exploring these terrifying monsters, from the safety of our screens, of course. From the world's largest snake to a recently discovered strange creature, here are the 20 most dangerous monster animals of the Amazon. Number 20. Green Anaconda. We're just gonna start this list with one of the world's most notorious snakes, the green anaconda. Not only is this one of the few snakes in the world to have a whole horror movie made about it, but it's also the longest snake in the world, and then some. On average, the green anaconda measures around 20 feet, but they're known to measure up to 29 feet in some cases. And you wonder why they made a whole horror movie about this guy. But don't think that the anaconda is just a very long snake. At 550 pounds, it's also the heaviest of all. Thankfully for us, the green anaconda is native to South America, so you'll probably never stumble upon it by accident. And if you do, you better get running in the opposite direction because this thing is known to eat pretty much anything that crosses its path, including other anacondas. If you see this in the Amazon, get away fast because you never know what could happen to you if you stay near it. As the larger of the sexes, female anacondas have been known to eat the smaller male specimen. When you consider that bleak little fact, it makes sense why green anacondas prefer to spend much of their time alone. It's more for their own protection than anything else. Number 19. Bullet ant. There's over 950,000 known species of insects in the world, but there's only one bullet ant, and thank the good Lord above for that. These animals are notorious for one thing and one thing alone, causing an unthinkable amount of pain with a single bite. Those unfortunate souls who have experienced a bite from the bullet ant have compared it to the agony felt by taking a bullet. Obviously, anybody that experiences both of those things is profoundly unlucky, but you have to admire them for sharing their wisdom with the world. Now, nobody wants to experience either. According to reports from experts, the bite victims experience an agonizing sensation of discomfort for 12 to 24 hours. All things considered, that seems like a very short time to be experiencing the pain of a gunshot wound, but who am I to judge what others have been through? Again, those that have had the brutal misfortune to suffer a bullet ant bite describe it as a pure, intense, brilliant pain. And while the ant may well take that as a compliment and a great review, everyone else should take it as a warning sign to stay the heck away from any Amazonian ant unless it's already found you. Good Lord, I wish you luck. Number 18. Faal Lance. If you're exploring the Amazon, you should always be prepared to encounter some kind of deadly animal. It's just part of the experience. But the Faal Lance is yet another animal you really don't want to stumble into, unless you really like being bitten for some reason. The Faal Lance, also known as the Bothrops asper, is a highly venomous species of pit viper. What makes this snake more dangerous than many others is the simple fact that it tends to live near human habitations. Because of that close proximity, coupled with the fact that the snake is just straight up defensive, you have the makings of trouble, and that's what you get. This species is often considered the main cause of snake bites within its range. And in case you somehow don't know, a bite from a venomous snake is kind of the opposite of fun in any environment. Pit vipers are the kind of animal you'll want to avoid in the Amazon. They're somehow even worse. While we can never really know for sure, it certainly seems like the Faal Lance thrives on being able to attack humans whenever it wants. I mean, why else would it decide to settle so close to us? That's a pure intimidation tactic, my friends. And I would know. I once worked in an office. Number 17. Amazonian giant centipede. If you're one of those people that just love to see giant animals, you should consider a trip to the Amazon. I mean, sure, you might not make it home, but giant animals? They don't come much bigger than the Amazonian giant centipede. Actually, they do come much bigger, but come on, man. According to experts, the Amazonian giant centipede can measure longer than 12 inches. So, centipedes are said to have 100 legs, but in reality, they don't have 100 legs. When you factor in that they have a lot of legs, well, that makes for a pretty frightening fact right there. The species exists in many places, but it's most well known in South America and the Caribbean. And yes, it preys on a lot of animals, pretty much anything it can overpower and kill. That includes insects, spiders, scorpions, even bats. Yeah, you heard me right. These things will climb the cave ceilings to take down bats. They're creative, all right? Again, if you're someone that particularly loves giant animals for some reason, you can't get much better than the Amazonian giant centipede. I mean, a giant insect that can kill a bat? It sounds like the setup to some kind of comic book crossover. I would watch or read it. Number 16. Assassin bug. Hey, guess what? Turns out the assassin bug is as unpleasant as its name suggests. Maybe even more so, depending on what you're expecting. Either way, It's the perfect example of an animal that you absolutely don't want to encounter in the middle of the Amazon. Also known as Redbellied, the assassin bug is a terrestrial ambush predator, not done like an assassin, right? These nasty little bugs are known to cause harm to just about anybody that they don't like. And since they're blood-sucking parasites, you can bet it's not going to be an experience you'll want to remember. This is why experts recommend that people stay away from them and avoid handling them directly. That advice is apparently not common sense for some reason, which is why they have to stress it constantly. For the last time, people, stop picking up bugs you find in the Amazon. It's not going to end well. The assassin bug, if feeling threatened, will often defend itself with a very painful stab. And sure, while cursing and blaming somebody else will ease the pain temporarily, it won't help in the long run. And that's because the assassin did its job. Now it's time for today's topic. While conducting a biodiversity study along the Amazon River's lush banks, researchers stumbled upon what can only be described as a living nightmare. Deep within a remote, swampy area, they came across an enormous, reptilian creature lying partially submerged in the water. Measuring over 15 feet in length, the beast resembled a terrifying hybrid of a crocodile and something far more sinister. Its jagged scales shimmered under the dense canopy, and its elongated head bore serrated teeth that looked as if they belonged to a prehistoric predator. The team cautiously approached, documenting the creature with cameras and drones. Its eyes followed their every move, radiating an eerie intelligence. What baffled scientists most was its strange dorsal ridges, unlike any known crocodilian species. Some speculated it could be a result of genetic mutations caused by pollution, or even a long-lost relic of a prehistoric era, surviving undetected in the Amazon's impenetrable jungles. Authorities were called in to secure the area, and samples were taken for further analysis. Local legends spoke of mythical creatures in the river, but no one ever expected to see one come to life. While experts work to classify this discovery, whispers of the Amazon still hiding uncharted mysteries have reignited. Could this monster be just the beginning? Number 15. Brazilian wandering spiders. In Greek, phenutria means murderous. In the animal kingdom, it also means spider, or at least it's the name of a genus that contains our next animal, the Brazilian wandering spider. And wouldn't you guess it, the name fits because, yes, this is one of the most venomous spiders on the planet. The Guinness Book of World Records confirmed this when they named the Brazilian wandering spider the world's most venomous spider, and it's pretty easy to see why. The spider's bite is known to be deadly to humans, especially children. If antivenom is used, it can help alleviate symptoms and avoid the worst-case scenario. But if left untreated, death is all but a certainty. Want to make things even worse? There are 8 species of Brazilian wandering spiders out there, so survival is not quite as simple as identifying one. In fact, the Brazilian wandering spider is often confused with a harmless Cupienia species. That simple confusion has led many people to get bitten by the deadly species entirely because they believed it was the other, harmless variety. Once again, we're taught an important lesson. Never underestimate Mother Nature. She's out to confuse you. Number 14. Tarantulas. Of all the animals in the Amazon, the tarantula seems kind of like a small fry. But it's never a good idea to think of any Amazonian animal as a small fry. They're all dangerous to some degree, and encountering one on a bad day is not going to end well for you. If you're an arachnophobe, encountering a tarantula is one of the worst possible things that could happen. And to make matters even worse, there are 1,010 species identified all around the world so far, with some of them far more dangerous than others. In the case of Amazonian species, much of the danger comes from the creature's hairs. To human flesh, those hairs can cause serious skin irritation and, in some cases, damage to the eyes. And let's be honest, if you're not a fan of spiders anyway, suffering severe damage in the eyes isn't exactly going to change your mind. Tarantulas aren't great, but in the Amazon, they're pretty much as bad as they could possibly be. This is an environment that has the impressive ability to take already terrifying animals and make them infinitely, almost unimaginably, more frightening. If bodybuilders went there, they'd have no need for steroids. Why has nobody ever thought about that? Number 13. Poison dart frog. The frog has the words poison dart in its name, so you already know that this thing is not here to make friends. This frog is here to cause some trouble, or is it? Things may be a little more complicated. The poison dart frog is a small, insect-eating amphibian native to Central and South America. And, of course, they're poisonous, but not naturally so. In fact, the poison dart frog gets its toxicity from eating a purely bug-based diet. The frogs that eat a more varied and expansive diet apparently show no signs of poison or venom. But the name poison dart frog actually has nothing to do with anything the frog is doing. It comes from the indigenous people of North America. These indigenous peoples would use the frog's toxins to poison the tips of their blow darts, guaranteeing maximum pain for their enemies. Here's the biggest twist of all. Not all poison dart frogs are actually deadly, but that just makes it more complicated when it comes to finding the non-toxic ones. If you're unlucky enough to get the poison in your system, you're in for a pretty rough time in the Amazon, and killed by a frog is not the greatest epitaph in the world. Number 12. Rattlesnake. I don't think we have to sit here and say too much about how dangerous and deadly the rattlesnake can be. If you've ever seen a nature documentary, you know that these things are nasty as all hell, and that they just love to hurt other animals. Or, to put it another way, they're a kind of venomous snake. And the big thing to know about rattlesnakes, there are a lot of them. There are 36 known species of rattlesnake, but there are 65 to 70 subspecies among them. So that's fun for everyone, right? Snakes mostly tend to hunt for small animals like birds or rodents, so you can breathe easy knowing that this snake would really rather not eat you. That doesn't mean they won't attack, though. In fact, rattlesnakes are the biggest cause of snake bite injuries throughout North America. So if one of these things starts rattling in your direction, that's a good hint to get moving. Luckily, these snakes don't tend to bite unless they're outright provoked or threatened. So remember your manners, keep a safe distance, and don't call it names. Those are the 3 golden rules to not getting bitten by a snake. They haven't failed me yet. Number 11. Jaguar. For some reason, we don't pay as much attention to the jaguar as we should. It seems like we spend most of our time talking about the lion or the tiger or even the cheetah. But the jaguar is, well, there's no other way to say it, a killing machine. The jaguar is the largest cat species in the Americas and the 3rd largest in the world, measuring up to 6 feet in length. But the reason that it's a killing machine has absolutely nothing to do with its size and more to do with the unique way it hunts its prey. You see, while the other big cats more or less kill in the same way, the jaguar prefers to attack mammalian prey in a pretty brutal manner. It bites directly through the skull, right between the ears, to deliver a fatal blow to the brain. This incredible killing method is made possible by the jaguar's unmatched jaw strength, which is the most powerful of any big cat relative to its size. It can crush turtle shells with ease, making its prey options almost limitless in the wild. Jaguars are also incredible swimmers, often hunting in water for caimans or fish, showcasing their versatility as apex predators. Their beautifully patterned coat not only makes them visually striking, but also provides perfect camouflage in the dense forests they inhabit. I told you, right? Killing machine. The jaguar can be found all over the Americas, but it's probably for the best that you don't find it. Unless you don't care about your own brain, in which case, go right ahead. Just make sure your last will and testament is all written up because it's highly unlikely you'll be coming home. Number 10. Vampire bat. As if the Amazon wasn't already incredibly dangerous and filled with animals that want to kill you, Mother Nature just had to throw in vampires too. Yep, the vampire bat is definitely the kind of animal that you want to avoid wherever possible. So while a bite from a vampire bat doesn't actually turn you into a bloodthirsty vampire, it's definitely not one of the most pleasant experiences in the world. Actually, come to think of it, I imagine encountering a real-life vampire wouldn't be very pleasant either. If you feel even more alarmed by the existence of the vampire bat, just think about this. There are actually 3 species in the world: the hairy-legged vampire bat, the common vampire bat, and the white-winged vampire bat. And let me tell you this, if you don't like one, you're probably not going to like the others either. Each vampire bat species is unique from one another, but they all have that one sinister thing in common: blood-sucking. If they can clean an animal out of all of its blood, that's a pretty great day for your average vampire bat. Number 9. Electric eel. The electric eel is one of those animals that sounds really cool and fun until you see it in action, and then it just seems like the kind of thing you want to spend the rest of your life forgetting exists. Look, combining electricity and water is a genius idea by Mother Nature. She basically took the 2 things that can't coexist without causing death and mashed them up into one painful new creature. Of course, the electric eel lives up to that name. It stuns its prey by generating electricity. According to the unlucky people who have experienced an eel shock, you're unlikely to die from it. Although, in their words, it's unpleasant and like touching an electric fence. So if you've ever done that before, you're pretty much halfway there. And if you've never done it, don't do it. Nobody's ever gotten superpowers from it. The electric eel is a pretty fascinating animal, and experts are still learning more about them. Until recently, it was believed they were a lone species, that there was only one type of electric eel in the world. Then, in a surprising 2019 discovery, marine biologists discovered there were other species. It's strangely comforting to know that scientists are also figuring things out day by day. Number 8. Arapaima. Any animal that is the largest something in the world is almost definitely going to turn out to be a little jerk. The Arapaima, as the world's largest freshwater fish, is no exception. Well, maybe that's unfair, but I'm going to stick with it anyway. The Arapaima is native to the Amazon and Essequibo basins of South America and is a massive reason fishers flock to explore the river. However, many don't have to make the trip. You see, the Arapaima has been introduced to many regions outside of its native range, but in those areas, the the fish has become an invasive species, which only makes them more appealing to aspiring fishers. The only problem? Those same anglers are catching so many that the population is falling. For lack of a better phrase, it's a real double-edged rod there, you know? But since the Arapaima is known as the world's largest freshwater fish, it will forever be a source of interest for anglers everywhere. As far as they exist in the world's waters, there will be somebody risking their life and limb to catch one. The only question is, are they strong enough to lift it out of the water? Because you can bet that this thing isn't going to weigh the same as a goldfish. Number 7. Triboa. Snakes are a fascinating thing. Even when they're not venomous, they somehow find a way to be among the most terrifying animals on Earth. The emerald green boa is definitely on the list, even for the Amazon. And you know how many insanely terrifying animals exist out there. The fully grown emerald tree boa can grow to be about 6 feet long, but don't worry, you'll be able to identify it by some pretty distinctive traits. Maybe it's their emerald green and white coloring that almost looks like little lightning bolts, or maybe it's their front teeth that are distinctly larger than any other non-venomous snake. And as one of my snake-phobic friends told me, bigger teeth are not the kind of thing that quiets anxiety. They may not be venomous, but there's just something about the ability to sever key veins that makes people nervous. The emerald tree boa probably isn't the kind of animal that would come to mind right away when you think of the Amazon, but it absolutely should. Why? Because, well, it's a big non-venomous snake with huge teeth. That's like pure nightmare fuel for anybody even slightly anxious about snakes. So, you know, if you see a snake that can give you a big toothy grin, time to start moving. Number 6. Harpy Eagle. It's a funny thing about the Harpy Eagle. When you hear the name, you expect it to be a fun, kind of quirky bird that lives in the Amazon. But to think that would be a huge mistake because this is one of the most dangerous birds on the planet. If nothing else, take one look at the wings, and you'll see just how dangerous it is. The Harpy Eagle has a wingspan of up to 6.5 feet, making it one of the most intimidating birds of prey anywhere, let alone in the Amazon. But you know what's even scarier? Their talons are so massive that they rival the size of a grizzly bear's claws, capable of crushing bone with ease. These talons are specifically adapted to snatch prey from the treetops, giving them a terrifying advantage in the dense rainforest. Harpy eagles are also known for their incredibly powerful legs, which can generate the force needed to carry prey that outweighs the bird itself. And their sharp vision allows them to spot targets from over 200 yards away, ensuring nothing escapes their notice. They're incredibly agile when it comes to flying through their crowded forest habitat. And it's not like they're wasting their energy when they do this stuff. In fact, they're pretty smart predators, conserving their energy for the right moment to swoop down and grab their latest target at a speed of up to 50 miles per hour. So, yes, the Harpy Eagle is far from the cute, quirky bird that the name would suggest. In fact, given that they can pick up prey like monkeys or sloths at speeds like that, they're predators that every living thing in the Amazon should be conscious of. Let's just hope they don't get a taste for humans or we're screwed. Number 5. Redbellied Piranha. We all know the stories and the legends. Piranhas are among the most greedy and deadly fish on the planet. But you know what? The red-bellied piranha may actually be on the next level of danger. It's very much not a good time. The red-bellied piranha exists throughout South America in its lakes and rivers, but they're mostly known for their life in the Amazon. Piranhas are known to hunt in schools of hundreds, which, well, that sounds like the setup to a horror movie in itself. While these schools are mostly a defensive tactic to avoid predators, they can become lethal feeding machines when food is scarce. They're equipped with razor-sharp teeth capable of shearing through flesh and bone with terrifying precision. Their bites are not just quick but incredibly strong, pound for pound. Their bite force rivals that of a great white shark. Even the sound they make, a low grunting noise used for communication, is enough to send chills down a person's spine. During the dry season, when water levels drop and resources become limited, piranhas are known to become much more aggressive, occasionally attacking larger prey, including mammals. Now, generally speaking, the piranha will tend to eat other fish or tiny little creatures it can find, like shrimp, worms, or mollusks. But it's not exactly unheard of for them to take on larger prey. And don't go thinking you could take on a piranha and win. Not gonna happen. These things can grow up to 14 inches long, and some locals in the Amazon will tell you all manner of gruesome stories. Today, many marine biologists work to downplay the reputation of the piranha, insisting that any story of piranhas consuming humans is unverified or otherwise fake. But it seems to me that these animals are insane and deadly. So let this be a warning to everybody, you don't want to risk it. Number 4. Black Cayman. By now, it should be fairly clear that the Amazon is known for having some pretty big animals, but the black cayman is one of the biggest of them all. In fact, of all the animals in the Amazon ecosystem, and there are a lot, this is the biggest predator of all. Yeah, even bigger than the anaconda. The black cayman is a carnivorous reptile that grows to at least 16 feet long and often up to 20 feet. That makes it the third largest reptile in South America and the biggest predator in the Amazon River ecosystem. What makes it the biggest predator? While we can guess that other animals would eat anything, we know for a fact that the black caiman eats anything and everything that it finds. Its diet ranges from fish, capybaras, and monkeys to even smaller caimans, making it a true omnipresent threat in the food chain. They're known for their incredible stealth, often submerging their massive bodies underwater with only their eyes and nostrils visible, waiting patiently for an unsuspecting victim. With powerful jaws that can crush bones and teeth designed to grip and hold onto prey, escape is nearly impossible once you're caught. Black caimans are also highly territorial, often competing with other large predators for dominance in shared waterways. This animal is an apex predator, meaning no other animal in the ecosystem would even risk taking a shot at killing it. That's a surefire sign that this guy is the king. Obviously, attacks on humans are not uncommon when it comes to this animal. In fact, those that encounter the caiman generally don't make it back home. But that's to be expected. After all, the animal isn't exactly known to be the cuddliest thing in the river, right? Number 3. Bull shark. There's kind of an unspoken rule about animals that have no recorded human interactions. It's pretty much code for this animal killed everybody that encountered it. The bull shark is one of these animals, and it's really the only explanation that makes sense. You see, bull sharks exist all over the planet, and yet there are no recorded interactions with humans. But when you consider that the bull shark is one of the world's hungriest and most aggressive shark species, it all kind of clicks into place. Experts have long claimed that bull sharks are likely the culprits behind most nearshore shark attacks in history, including attacks that have been blamed on other species. Yes, all those great white stories, a good chunk of them probably had nothing to do with the great white. It was the actions of a very hungry bull shark. These sharks are unique in their ability to thrive in both salt and freshwater environments, which means they've been spotted swimming far up rivers like the Amazon and the Ganges. They're also equipped with one of the strongest bite forces in the animal kingdom, making their attacks even more devastating. And if that wasn't enough, bull sharks are known for their territorial nature, often lashing out at anything that invades their space. They're not just aggressive hunters, they're opportunistic feeders, willing to eat pretty much anything that crosses their path, from fish and dolphins to even other sharks. The Amazon is filled with animals that you should be wary of, but I would go out on a limb and say that the bull shark should be near the top of the list. They've committed so many unreported murders around the world that they should be high on the FBI's most wanted list. Number 2. Pit vipers. If the Amazon is one big battle royale fight club for animals, the pit vipers are easily near the top of the leaderboard. These animals are pretty much the unstoppable killing machines of the snake world, and as we all know, that world's pretty aggressive as it is. The pit viper has a unique advantage when it comes to hunting. Hidden between the eye and nostril lies a heat-seeking pit organ, acting like a unique kind of sixth sense. The organ allows the snake to locate and track their desired warm-bodied prey. And yes, that would include humans if they really wanted to eat us. Thankfully, they don't. These snakes prefer to eat smaller animals, and they have been known to branch out in the right conditions. In some cases, pit vipers have been observed hanging from tree branches to ambush unsuspecting prey, showcasing their versatility as predators. Their venom is another deadly feature, capable of both immobilizing prey and beginning the digestion process even before the meal is swallowed. Additionally, the sheer variety of pit viper species across the Americas means they've adapted to thrive in diverse environments, from rainforests to deserts. Some species are even known to mimic the appearance of non-venomous snakes, adding deception to their arsenal of survival tools. And let's not forget their impressive ability to strike at nearly half their body length, giving them an extra reach advantage. If they're somehow deprived of their senses, the snake will identify any creature less than 0.36 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the environment, and they'll attack it. That's when things get fun for the snake. And you know what's even worse for us? These snakes are notoriously accurate when they strike, even when their sight or smell is impaired. It's pretty much the number one reason humans should avoid getting lost in viper country. It's just going to end badly for us. Number 1. The giant river otter. It's very easy to be fooled by the giant otter. As with pretty much any furry creature, it may look cute and cuddly, and you may think of it as a Disney character. But no, my friends, this is a very aggressive and defensive animal. If the animal kingdom believed in anger management, this guy would be first in line for an appointment. The giant otter is one of the world's largest otters, and it's definitely the longest, measuring in at 5.6 feet in length. It's easy to see why this guy doesn't shy away from a fight. Giant otters are known to hunt in packs, often taking down prey much larger than themselves, such as caimans and anacondas, showcasing their fearless nature. Their vocalizations, which range from growls to screams, are another testament to their assertive personalities, often warning intruders before a full-blown attack. These animals are fiercely protective of their families and territories, which are usually along rivers or lakes in the Amazon basin. Interestingly, They have also been observed using teamwork to outwit predators, a behavior that further highlights their intelligence and strategic abilities. Their sharp teeth and powerful jaws are not just for show. They are tools for both hunting and delivering a serious message to potential threats. So why would a giant otter attack? Pretty much all the usual reasons. They could be hungry, they could be feeling defensive, or most commonly, they just don't like people stepping on their turf. That's why giant otters have such a reputation. They will attack anybody if they feel the victim is trespassing on their land or otherwise provoking them. And you know what that means. A lot of people on this planet have been attacked by a giant otter, and they may not even have known what they did. So the best thing to do if you see a giant otter? Run or swim in the opposite direction. Just do it real fast. Which Amazonian animal would you least want to encounter in person? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out the other cool videos popping up on the screen, and I'll see you next time.